Hi, I'm Sam. I make music as Floating Points. I'm at Amoeba in LA, and this is What's in My Bag. I've got like a bunch of records here that some of them are for like friends back home who are kind of looking for these records. It's quite easy to find a lot of this stuff over here, like Pharoah Sanders. This one is like a record we used to play at a club in London called Plastic People. There's a tune called Love Is Everywhere, which is like 20-minute long, like joyous. It's jazz, but then it's kind of up-tempo, and people in the right context will dance to this record, and it's like a really beautiful, good value. So that's for my friend Mafalda. This one is a label called Ebonite Records, which was one of these tax scam labels. I think in America, back in the mid-70s, major labels found a loophole where they could open a subsidiary label and write off a lot of their catalogue and say they manufactured thousands of copies, but actually only did a few, and they'd say it was a massive loss. And so they were usually like digging up demos and records that probably wouldn't have normally got released and put them out. And some amazing records like Mad Cliff, which is the guy Chris Hills from Players Association, had a record on that, and it's just amazing demo versions of the records he was going to release in the future. This is a record on Ebonite, which put out a lot of really good dance floor stuff, and so I'm taking a risk on this one. So a reissue of The Edge of Daybreak. This record I go on about to everyone I meet, and the Numero Group, it's a label based in Chicago. They're amazing guys. They go around the States like digging up often unreleased music from tapes from people who have them in their vaults. And everything on Numero is worth checking out. This one is a record that was recorded in Richmond, Virginia, a correctional facility, or Virginia State Penitentiary. It was recorded in a studio outside. They were allowed out to record it. You can't help but hear like the sense of like imprisonment. I think on the back of the original it says something like, this record is a dedication to everyone incarcerated, and it's a prayer to the day we'll all be free. I think everyone should hear this record. It's stunning. Another reissue, this is Mary Clark. So this is another record that I obsess over. I found in Japan. It's actually as I was leaving a record shop in Osaka, the dealer who I know quite well was like, oh, you might like this. And I was like, oh, I've got to go. I was listening to it and I was like, this is exactly what I think. So it's Patrick Adams' production, who's a producer from New York, who's like really influential in the disco. And the way he would mix records was, in my opinion, the greatest of all like disco mixes. That Jesse Gould Out of Work is just so powerful. The drums sound better than any drums on any disco record I've ever heard. And this is no exception. Mary Clark, Take Me, I'm Yours. And this is a reissue which has an instrumental on flip, which my copy doesn't have. And there was a bootleg that was done maybe 5 years ago. There was no dot after the MFG on the bootleg, so I think apparently this is an official reissue, and that's how the sort of record nerds, not that I am one. No, it doesn't sound like it, does it? But that's how you tell if it was a bootleg. This is my friend's band, Joel Stones, had a shop in New York called Tropicalia in Furs. And this guy was, for me, like an amazing educator in Brazilian music. And I'm obsessed with Brazilian music. And he's really into like the psyche side of things. And this is a record he made with some friends. And so I'm gonna get this. And that's for me. I don't know this record. This is Gunter Hampel, but in the band is Anthony Braxton, who's really influential, important jazz musician, and the father of Tyondike Braxton. who's also making music. So I'm a big fan of both Tyondai and Anthony's work, so it's nice to check that out. This one is for a friend, it's Charles Ireland. This record I play a lot in clubs. There's a tune called Vanjay. Vanjay is the one, if I ever DJ this record, I sort of go into a trance and I kind of lose my marbles when Charles does his organ solo, which is right at the end of the tune. It's kind of like a pretty straight organ jazz record. But yeah, the performances are wicked and the lineup is super heavy, like Joe Henderson, Freddie Hubbard. You can't go wrong. And another gift for someone is this Ornette Coleman science fiction, which has a tune called Lawyers, which is a tune that I used to play when I was at school. And had a little band, we used to play Lawyers. So whenever I see this record, I try and pick it up because, again, I don't really see this very often in UK. Masabumi Kikuchi and Gil Evans. Gil Evans had recorded previously a tune called Priestess, and this is like with an orchestra, and it's a beautiful version of this tune, but it's not only that, there's something about the recording, it's just super open, and it kind of reminds me of like a time in my life when I first moved to London. It's like one of the first records I bought from a shop called If Music. To see it again, which I don't really see this record out, so I was like, yes, it's good to see that. Chick Corea, Return to Forever, like one of the first 5 records I ever had in my entire life. Every tune on this, Everything Light as a Feather, Captain Marvel, it's a beautiful jazz record. I used to like just try and copy Chick Corea's solos and just play along with this record. And the tune You're Everything, it's got Flora Purim. I think she recorded this vocal in one take whilst breastfeeding her newly born son. Had like a singer slated to do it. And then Chick was like, no, I need Flora. And she's like, I've just given birth, I can't come get on a plane. And he's like, I need you here. And they recorded it in London. This record is wicked. I love this.
Even songbirds seem more to sing. You're everything.
I say that for other people, but actually I just get home and I lose them immediately. So that's how it really works. Thanks for having me. It's nice to get records I've already got.
Amoeba.